graph questions on both the reading and writing section are usually very intimidating, but the figure is not that hard to understand if we just kind of have some confidence in ourselves here. So that's the thing, is these are supposed to be, in my mind, easy questions. They may look scary, they may look hard, but these are the kinds of things where you just want to rack up easy points because it's just about doing what you're told, following instructions. And in this case, we're actually given 2 instructions, and so we want to make sure we're following them, but there is an order in which you should follow them. So let me specify what I mean here. The writer wants to support the paragraph's main idea with accurate, relevant information from the graph. So there's 2 things. 1, it needs to be accurate, and 2, it needs to be relevant. So here's the deal. You should always think about graph questions in that order. Look for accuracy first, then look for relevance. Why? Because the accuracy comes from the figure, and the relevance comes from the text. And the figure is always going to be a little bit easier to understand than the text, because the figure is just like shapes and numbers, and it's usually pretty straightforward. So save yourself the headache, deal with the easier thing first. And honestly, accuracy usually is all we need to do. It gets us down to the right answer. So what are we trying to actually say here? Let's look at that line. It's right here. Remarkably, less glass was discarded in landfills in that year than any other substance, including plastics or paper. So any other substance, well, that means we're looking either at the first graph, the first bar, right? So the one that is bigger than everything, or the one that is smaller than everything, right? Because in order to compare something and use the phrase any other, it needs to be on the extremes. It either needs to be food waste or rather rubber and leather. So that means that glass isn't going to work, right? Glass is kind of somewhere in the middle here. So glass doesn't work, metal doesn't work, yard waste doesn't work. So right there, more food waste. And does that make sense? Well, what are we talking about? We're talking about yard debris. We're talking about compost and how it's wasted. So we know from the previous question and the general paragraph that food waste is a form of compost. Not all of the stuff in the graph is compost, but they're talking about compost. They're trying to make a big deal out of it, so it would make sense that the answer would be that we're wasting a lot of compost. We're wasting a lot of food waste. So it fits with the relevance piece. But honestly, that's secondary. We can get the answer just in this case by thinking about the accuracy of the data. That is almost always going to be true. So start with accuracy, save yourself some time, narrow your focus to accuracy and to the graph, to the figure, and these questions suddenly become super easy.